This is AI.R. Artists in Residence Broadcasting, coming to you once a week from New York City. Hello, everyone. I'm John Cullum, and this is Emily Frankel.
And now we're going to talk about a subject for my blog, M's Talk Radio.
Yes, as usual.
And I want to know, what do you feel about what's going on in the world right now? We have a lot going on, and wars and disasters, and now Egypt.
Oh my gosh, this is one of the most extraordinary times. I mean, we don't know what's going on. The whole picture in the Middle East is going to change, I'm sure.
Are you worried?
No, in some ways, I think of it as a positive thing, that it's changing for the better. But I may regret that because, and Shakespeare always thought that chaos and in a government is the worst thing that can happen to you. That's why he was always talking about, deposing or killing kings is the worst possible thing that can happen to it. And a lot of people, the Greeks, thought that too.
What do you feel is happening in terms of the White House?
Well, I think that, first of all, I think that Obama has done a very, very good job, and people are not giving him credit for it, but that's okay.
Well, more so now, though.
Well, they are, yeah, because it's beginning to come out. You can't keep criticizing. Plus the fact, you see, that now that the Republicans have gotten a power position, they've got to be much more
specific.
Yeah, and very careful about how they criticize the way the government is being handled, because they're the leaders in the government now, and they need Obama.
Do you think they're going to devastate health care?
No, I don't think so. I think that they will try to. They've already done a kind of a thing that for public consumption. They've made their gesture about, we're going to kill healthcare, and they pretended like they were trying to, but I don't really think they want that to happen. They may amend some of the things, pull it back some, and maybe they'll come up with a better health plan, because they didn't help out. But now they're willing. If they can do anything they can get credit for, this is the time to do it. So I feel a little more optimistic.
So you're more optimistic, really, about what's happening in D.C., but what's going on in the world right now is frightening.
Yes, it's frightening, and there's the whole thing that you and I remember a time when there was no terrorist threats. Now we live in a world of terrorist threats. That goes back, you go back 3,000 years, and you had those terrorists, the thugs, they called them. That's what they were called.
That what they were, thugs?
That's where the word came from. They were terrorists. And so it's not a new thing, but it is certainly a big thing. I mean, it's so easy we've got these huge, wonderful structures in a society now, buildings and roadways and cars and buses and trains and planes and all the structures that can be easily attacked by a very small force of people. So the terrorists are in a very advantageous position. That's very discouraging. And of course, you and I lived through the whole time when, I can remember we were down in Knoxville, Tennessee, when they had the big crisis in Cuba. And we really came very close to having an atomic
disaster,
war.
yes.
And that would have been disastrous. But we are really in more danger now, but people don't seem to pay much attention to it.
I think people are paying attention, but what can people do?
I don't know. I think really the essence is to get people to change the way they think. In other words, it's a propaganda war, but not propaganda. But it's selling people on the idea,
communicating.
Yeah, that it's better not to destroy everything. It's better. We've even got a lot of things going on in our own country where they act like they want to destroy our government. It's ridiculous because if our government was destroyed, they'd be so much worse off than they are
Well,
now.
I'm not really cheered up by
Well,
your philosophy, but I wanted to hear what you were going to say. Thank you very much, John.
you're welcome for what it's worth. Hopefully, we'll cheer you up next week. So come back to us and tune in. All right. Till then, so long. This is AI.R. See you next week.